We've all heard it before that exercise is a great way of reducing stress. But does that really work? Going through life, we're all going to experience stress. It's inevitable, it's part of life. If we really do care about something, and all of us do, stress is just going to come with it because we care. During my junior year of high school, I decided to join the cross country team. As I ran, I started to realize that some of the stress that I felt in life and just in general seemed less. It didn't seem as big a deal. And I started to realize that it was because I was running. Because the more I ran, the better it felt. And the better things felt and the less stress that I felt. But when I wasn't running consistently, I felt that stress coming back into my life. Today I'm going to be talking about how stress is an effective and great way, how exercise is a great way to reduce stress, and how it really is an effective way to lessen the levels of stress that we feel. I'll be talking about two things. I'm going to be talking about how exercise and how some studies show that exercise is a great way of doing that. And then I'm going to be talking about the opposing view. More specifically, I'm going to be talking about meditation and how people say that meditation is a much more effective way to reduce the stress that we feel in our lives. Now let's first talk about exercise. We all know what exercise is. It comes in all shapes and sizes, and there's various things that we can all consider exercise, like running, lifting weights, etc. There are several studies that show just how effective exercise really is at reducing the level of stress that we feel. J.S. Singh and colleagues compared women who exercised and women who didn't exercise. And in this study, they looked to see at how much stress the women who exercised and the women who didn't felt. They found that the women who consistently exercised felt reduced levels of stress in their lives, while on the flip side, the women who didn't felt, it varied, but they consistently felt more stressed than the ones who were exercising. Another study by Callaguen and colleagues studied the effects of exercise and the stress that we feel in the workplace. We all feel stressed when we go to work, and unless it's a great environment, but even then we still feel some form of stress. They found that the workers who were able to find some time to exercise, it didn't have to be much exercise, whatever that was, whether it was some form of lifting weights or going on a walk or a run or some form of exercise, they found that those workers reported that they felt a reduced level of the stress that they felt at work. Right, so they found that this exercise was helping the workers to be more effective at their job, while also helping them to not feel as stressed or as pushed to get things done that they needed to that were important. And last, a study by Nilsson and colleagues studied the effect of exercise on refugees who were coming from countries that were experiencing war and all sorts of bad things going on with these refugees. They ranged from the mental struggles and physical things that they were doing, but they all to some extent experienced some form of war and torture related trauma. They also some of them reported having to deal with PTSD, so post-traumatic stress disorder. So they were kind of dealing with some of the side effects and the horrific memories that they remembered and things that they experienced. And then there were also some other associated physical and mental things, but all in the end reported that the exercise helped for them to reduce the level of stress they were feeling, and it even helped them to deal with these mental and physical things that they were having a hard time with. And it also helped them to lessen that burden that they were feeling, that thing that they were carrying with them. Now that we've talked about exercise, there's going to be arguments out there that are against it, that say that it's not the best way. One of those arguments is that meditation is a great way of reducing stress, and there are several studies that show that meditation is an effective way and a great way to reduce it, that argues against exercise. In a study by Huang and colleagues, they found that meditation increased mindfulness and resilience, which led to reduced stress levels, right? So meditation allows for us to get a hold of our mind. It allows us to control and take time to slow down, which led to them being able to be more mindful of the things that they experience in life, but also at the same time being able to be resilient and strong in getting through them, which, if we have those things, if we're more mindful and we're more resilient, yeah, it's going to lead to reduced levels of stress. In another study by Schneider and colleagues, they found that meditation led their participants to be better able to think things through, which in turn led them to being able to put a positive spin on whatever the experience was that was bringing some form of stress to them, right? So very similar to the previous study, but they found that that meditation allowed for people to, right, slow down and then think, and then realize that there was a lesson to be learned, or there was something positive that they could take away from this experience that was causing stress in their life. And in turn, being able to do that led them to feeling reduced levels of stress. Now that we've talked about two sides of this argument of, is exercise really a great way to reduce the levels of stress that we experience in life, it's important to remember that, stress is going to be a part of life. We're going to experience it. There are going to be many ways in which we find effective, but a lot of arguments and a lot of studies point to exercise being a great way of reducing stress because it gets us out. It gets us moving. It helps us to not stay cooped up inside. When, fresh air is a great thing. In conclusion, stress is just going to be a part of life. We care about things. We want good grades. We want good relationships, and because of that, stress is just going to be something that we experience. We can all take time to exercise and meditate, but the benefits that we've talked about for exercise definitely outweigh the ones for meditation. Meditation is a great thing, but getting out and being active has proven to help people overcome trauma and find less stress in the workplace, and just in general help people in life.